Hi, this is A. Whistler. That ain't even tells it like the T.I. is. Like my video, please give it a thumbs up. Like my channel, please subscribe. Topic I'm going to talk to you today about is the Real Housewives of Dubai, season one, uh, episode 13, reunion part one. Uh, the reunion started off with Andy going into the girls' dressing room and asked them how did they feel. First, he went to Standsbury and asked her how did she feel. She said she felt pretty good. She felt okay, and he asked her which was which was Lisa of the girls that he wanted to see, and she said Lisa, and she said oh Lisa, and then he went to Sarah and Stan. I went to Sarah and Nina's room, and Nina said that she felt good with everything. You know, she just felt a little nervous. Sarah said she thought everything was gonna be okay. So he went to Lisa's room and he said, "Lisa, what do you think?" Lisa said, I think everything's gonna be pretty good. It's gonna be exciting and stuff." And then he said, "Well, which of the ladies you're least expected to see?" She said Stansbury, and then Andy said, the feeling is mutual." She said, "Well, yeah, I guess so." And so after that, I did find a little picture of where they showed Brooks getting ready with the team. I'll put that in the video later. But anyway, it started off with Andy giving the introduction, introducing himself to the audience, and then introduced the ladies. He introduced all the ladies. I, think he started off with Caroline Stansbury. Then he went to Brooks. Then he went to Nina, and then on the other side he introduced Chanel Ion. Then it was Lisa Malone, and then it was Sarah. I was surprised they had Sarah on the side with Aiden and Lisa and stuff like that. But anyway, after we got to the introductions, he asked the ladies how they were feeling and stuff like that. And then so he asked Stansbury about her journey with giving Sergio a baby, and how was that going. He was saying how was her, and she was saying, well, you know, and she says, well, you know, she wants to give Sergio a baby, and she was saying that she did find out that she had 5 eggs left when she did the surgery and the IVF stuff. And he said, well, you know, with your health conditions, Stansbury, do you think that's safe? She said, well, you know, I've taken all that into consideration, and I really want to give us Sergio a child and stuff. And he said, uh, Andy said to Caroline Stansbury, he said, "Seem like you just having this baby for Sergio." She said, "No, I want another child too, but he really wants one." But see, I'm looking at, I got three teenage kids already and stuff, but he really wants one. He's a young man and stuff like that. And then Andy said, "Well, what if you can't give Sergio a baby? What is it?" She said, "Well, if I can't give him a baby naturally, I'll do a surrogate." And then Lisa chimed in and said, "No, she can't do a surrogate not in Dubai." She said, "I know that." She said, "I know that." She said, "I know that. I would have to go outside the country to do that. I already know that. You don't have to tell me that." And so he said Stansbury, "Is that a deal breaker for Sergio?" He said, "Oh no, it's not a deal breaker for Sergio. Sergio said he really loves me and really cares about me. It's not a deal breaker. I just want to give him another child." And then after that, Andy kind of switched over to John kind of switched over to Brooks, and he was saying, "Brooks, you were saying that you had went through a tumultuous relationship and an abusive relationship with your ex-husband, and it seemed like you and your ex-husband are on better terms now because he filmed the show with you." She was saying, "Yeah, he had been changed a little bit and stuff like that." And I told him when we had lunch that day that I had noticed the change in him and stuff like that. And she was saying he was quite cruel to me. And then Andy said, "You mentioned something on show about some kind of abuse." She said, "Yes, sir, he was so mean and cruel to me, not only mentally but physically." And she said, "That's why I had to get out of a relationship." She said, right now we're on better terms, and I was surprised he feeling me too. So I guess that's why I think he's on better terms, because he feeling me. He said, "Oh, Brooks, we got a question from a fan saying, why was you so upset by what Sarah had said about you need to spend more time with your son?" And she said, "Well, Sarah can be somewhat preachy." And Sarah said, "No, I'm not preaching." And then Chanel, our aunt, chimed in and said, "Yes, you are preaching at times." And he said, "Well, I don't feel like that I'm preaching." And then so she was saying, "Well, yeah, I thought you were attacking my parenting skills." And then they showed the clip where Sarah was telling Nita she need to go I mean, not Nita, where Sarah was telling Brooks that she needs to go and tuck in her own son and not the housekeeping stuff. And so she said, "Well, I didn't mean nothing about it." She said, "Well," and Brooks said, Brooks said, "You don't know how to read the room." And Andy said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Sarah." She said, "Sarah don't know how to read the room." She said, "When I gave Sarah that side-eye look and I rolled my eyes, that meant that she was supposed to stop saying what you said." And then Stansbury took up for her. She talking about, "Yeah, you do need to learn how to read the room, because Brooks is right. When she give you a certain look, that means she's not playing." And then so Sarah said, "Well, I wasn't trying to attack nobody's thing and stuff like that." And Andy said, "Well, how did you really feel about it, Sarah?" And Sarah said, "I felt that Brooks was wrong and she was taking it overboard, because I really didn't say nothing out of the way." And then so Brooks said, "Well, you know how I've been through with my husband, and I'm a single mother, and I had to raise children alone, and I've been through all this, and I felt that you were preaching to me, you were attacking me." She said, "But after I watched the scene and watched the episode, I kind of realized that I was a little bit, I did act a little bit out of the way." And then so she said, "I will have to admit that." And then so she said, "Well, me and Sarah are on good terms now." And then Andy said, "Are you and Sarah on good terms?" Sarah said, "Well, we're okay now. We're okay now." And so it switched to it switched to the next scene. Andy, not the next scene. Then Andy asked Chanel. He asked Chanel. I already say, "Chanel, you got a phone call." That was a little bit before. He said, "Chanel, you got a phone call." He said, "Yeah, you got a phone call from Naomi Campbell." He said, "Ooh, just love you, the best thing on the show." And so you could tell Caroline Stansbury, she had that ugly look on her face. She was cringe-worthy. And she said, "Well, one more thing before I let you go off the phone." She said, "What?" She said, "I want you to model in one of my shows." She said, "Oh, thank you, oh, thank you." And then hung up the phone. And then that's when Andy asked Chanel, and said, "Ooh, Chanel, you already getting booked for gigs right on the first part of the review, right?" And she said, "Yeah, yeah." And so right then "Chanel, why did you get upset when when it was said that you was not a pretty important person for Stansbury to invite you to her engagement party?" And I said, "Well, if it was when the way Brooke said it, that she only invited important people that she know and that she liked." And I was looking at her, why was she saying that? Why would she use the word important? He said it was just one bird. And she said, "Well, now it felt like that with the way Brooks said it, felt like that I was not important and I did not mean anything." And that's why I hurt my feelings, Andy. That's what Chanel was telling Andy. And then Brooks chimed in and say, "Well, I didn't mean it that way. I was just saying she just invited people that was her friends and that was friendly and that really loved her." And then that's when Stansbury chimed in and say, "Well, I didn't see what was a big deal about it anyway, because me and Chanel wasn't on good terms at that time." And she was saying, "Well, you still couldn't invite me." And then so that's when Lisa chimed in and said, "Well, your action speaks louder than your words." So by her doing that really let Chanel know that she really didn't want her at our party. And then what you call was looking all funny. And then that's when Andy turned to. He said, Stansbury, a fan say, "Why come you didn't tell Sergio that he wasn't supposed to be tweeting what he tweeted. And then that's when Lisa chimed in and said, those racist tweets, those racist tweets. And then it went to a commercial right quick. Let me get a little thing of water. And then Lisa said those racist tweets. And then Andy said, well, what did you tell Sergio? She said, I told Sarah, Andy, Sergio is new to Hollywood and TV and social media and stuff. And I told Sergio he has to watch what he say on the internet. He has to proofread and stuff and watch what he say on the internet. And then Brooks chimed in and said, yeah, because Stansbury is calling me early in the morning, and we got on the phone and we was on a three-way, and I explained to Sergio why a lot of black people and a lot of people were getting defensive, and I explained to him about that word, and then why it's not supposed to be used and stuff like that. And then Lisa chimed in, yeah, about the N word, and then Andy trying to sugar off. Brooke said y'all had a three-way call and y'all did it. He said, and then Lisa chimed in and said, but he still didn't apologize. Then Andy said, we're gonna move on. It was like he didn't want Lisa to question Stansbury, and every time Lisa questions Stansbury, it's like Andy would give pushback. You could tell he just likes to go over certain things, especially when it's concerning race, and just kind of touch on and roll on. And so after that, he kept asking Lisa about Miss Goat, and she said, "Well, everybody know that Miss Goat had passed away. She had got sick all of a sudden. And my boys really liked it, the Goat and stuff like that. And I didn't think I was going to be a part of Miss Goat." And she said, but then you made some Miss Goat t-shirts, and they started showing the Miss Goat t-shirts. She said, yeah. And then he said, well, yeah, how's your business going, Nina Rowe? She said, Nina Rowe is going really good. First I started out with maternity stuff, and now I'm starting clothes and stuff, and it's going really good. Stansbury gonna chime in. You stole those designs that you putting on Nina Rowe. You stole that from my friend. She said, well, what is your friend's name? What is her name? What is her name? So I can contact her and find out what you're talking about. Well, I'm not going to give her a name, but you just stole those designs. She said, I ain't stole no designs from nobody. And then Andy said, did you steal those designs, Lisa? She said, no. She said, what about you? She said, Andy, 90% of my business is me, Lisa Malone. She said, 10% we source out to other creators. So she said, so what it is, if it's something I like and another designer or creator did it, I have to get a license for that, and I have to pay those people. I know exactly what my business is. And she talking about Standsbury, you researching me. You need to go about your bankrupt businesses. I don't have no bankrupt, your bankrupt businesses, and you can't even keep a mortgage on a house. Stansbury, I got lots of houses all over. I even got houses in Dubai. And then so Lisa said, well, I'm the only one that really has a viable business that is going on. And then Stansbury said, I have businesses. And then Nina chimed in, I got a business too. And Aiden said, what kind of business you got? And then Lisa, yeah, what kind of business you got? I got a fruitcake business. And then Ion said, fruitcake. Does anybody eat fruitcake anymore? And then she said, well, I didn't know you had no fruitcake business. That's what Lisa said. And then so so after that she was saying, well, you wasn't nothing but a what she said, you wasn't nothing but a call girl, Lisa Malone. That's how you said. Lisa Malone said, girl, if I was a call girl, I would be very rich. I'd be rich, because this stuff is golden. And it was looking all crazy. And then she talking about, then Andy said, well, you got any proof? She gonna bring out some book, and she had a picture of Lisa Malone with a long nose, and she had somebody draw it out. And then she said, yeah, the book of lies. And she was saying, y'all know what you got in that book. And then after that, Andy showed the book, and then the show went off. I liked the first part of the reunion. I'm going to do another video on the second part of the reunion, probably one day next week. But you could tell that when it comes down to these, like I said a minute ago, these racial issues, and you want to want to shove it under the rug that he's hired these type of people and stuff like that. And you can kind of see now that he do the black housewives a little bit different from the white housewives, and the only ones that he let get away with certain stuff, at least on the black shows, they have to be like a Giselle, somebody that he liked. But anyway, first part of the reunion was pretty good. I can see why they say Lisa and Ion was the running team behind the reunion, and I'm glad. This is A. Weston. That ain't just like a TI is. I am out.